Have you ever argued with someone who was absolutely certain while being completely wrong? And here's the disturbing question. What if sometimes that person is us? Because today we're exposing one of the most fascinating psychological blind spots ever studied, the Dunning-Kruger effect. But here's the loop. Why do people with the least knowledge about a subject often speak about it with the greatest confidence? And even more surprising, why do genuine experts in a subject area sometimes sound less certain than beginners? Stay with me, because by the end you'll discover why confidence and competence are not always friends. In 1999, social psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger identified something unusual. People with limited knowledge in a field often overestimate how much they know. But this wasn't merely a study about intelligence. It involved a problem called metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. Psychologists describe this as a dual burden. First, people lacking expertise make mistakes. Second, and here's the shocking part, the same lack of expertise prevents them from recognizing their mistaken understanding. Now think about that for a minute. They don't merely have missing information. They don't even have the tools necessary to detect that information is missing. Now here's the next question. If ignorance creates confidence, what happens when knowledge increases? Imagine climbing a mountain. At the bottom, a beginner learns a few concepts and suddenly thinks, I've got this figured out. Then reality arrives. The person starts learning more and suddenly discovers how enormous the subject really is. Confidence crashes. But then comes the final stage. After years of study, experience, mistakes, and corrections, confidence begins to rise again, but this time it's different. It's measured. It's realistic. And here's the strange irony. The people who know the most often speak with the greatest humility. Why? Well, it's because they've studied the subject and now understand its complexity. The Dunning-Kruger effect isn't hiding in laboratories. It's sitting beside you in traffic. Studies repeatedly show huge numbers of people rate themselves as above average drivers. But statistically, everybody can't be above average. You see it at work. Someone skips training because they already know enough. You see it online. Someone reads one article and suddenly debates doctors, economists, or policy experts with complete certainty. But here's another loop. Is the Dunning-Kruger effect itself completely proven? Not exactly. Some researchers argue this famous effect may partly reflect a statistical phenomenon called regression to the mean. In simple language, human self-evaluations naturally drift toward average estimates. So some scholars ask, are psychological blind spots causing this, or are mathematics and statistics exaggerating it? The debate continues, but regardless of the mechanism, the practical lesson remains powerful. Psychology today reminds us, nobody is immune from arguing from ignorance from time to time. Not beginners, not experts, not me, not you. But here is the antidote. Seek feedback, question certainty, continue learning. Because the more in-depth your knowledge becomes, the more you can see how deep the rabbit hole really is. You realize how much remains unseen. And here's the final question. Ask yourself, are you actually becoming more knowledgeable and wiser, or merely becoming more confident?